Richard Dawkins, Neil deGrasse Tyson, Stephen Hawking, and Albert Einstein, and few others. And in our country, you have Nehru, and lately this lyricist Javed Akhtar, who depends on crude reasoning. By that, they argue that God per se is not required. Devaru bekagilla, kadavul vendam.
हम यहाँ क्यों आए हैं, हम इस यूनिवर्स में क्यों हैं, ये सवाल मुझसे उन्होंने भी किया था जिनसे आप डिस्कशन
वो तो रहने दीजिए। हाँ,
तो मैंने उन्हें कहा कि गुरुजी, आई डोंट नो व्हाई यू आर इन दिस वर्ल्ड, बट आई नो व्हाई आई एम इन दिस वर्ल्ड, एंड द आंसर इज अनप्रिंटेबल।
द आंसर इज
अनप्रिंटेबल,
अनप्रिंटेबल। ओके,
कि मैं क्यों इस दुनिया में हूँ,
कैसे आया।
हाँ, वो सब छोड़ दीजिए। इट इज अ पॉम्पस क्वेश्चन ऑफ Homo sapien, why am I in this world? You are redundant. It doesn't mean anything. Like one blade of grass. आप एक लॉन में जाइए, वहाँ तक लॉन है, उसमें एक ब्लेड लीजिए. Why this blade is in this universe? है? Why am I in this universe का मतलब क्या है?
But the fact is that we don't know.
No, you know. You will never think. You will never say that about an ant, about a cockroach, about a mosquito. Why this mosquito is in this universe? We should, I should be ashamed that I have suddenly become so pompous. I have become pompous. Then I'm saying, why am I in this world?
That is what they say. The reason is that they believe that everything has an interplay of atoms and subatomic particles, whether it is microcosm to macrocosm. If you take for the example Stephen Hawking, unfortunately in his last book he has given a wonderful synopsis of this, how this happens from his perspective, what he has learned and what his intelligence is through his intelligence.
And it's my view that the simplest explanation is, there is no God. No one created the universe, and no one directs our fate. This leads me to a profound realization. There is probably no heaven, and no afterlife either. We have this one life to appreciate the grand design of the universe. And for that, I am extremely grateful.
He has given that brief answers to big questions. In a book called Brief Answers to Big Questions, he has given an analogy. Suppose you are digging up a mountain, you have to make a hole around it. Think of the hole as a negative energy or negative, and mountain as positive. It is springing up. From negative force, positive energy, that is the space or the known existent universe has sprung. That is his theory. This is based on quantum physics. So negative to positive is equal to 0. That is his inference. So that 0 means you have no need for God. So God, you can think it as physical laws. That is what he is meaning, not as a personal deity as such. So you have a remarkable similarity to this by Samkhya, one of the 6 darshanas or 6 schools of thought in Sanatana Dharma, where it says that Kapila Muni describes this here. From nothingness, unmanifest has a potential to manifest. That is subatomical particle is the bija or the seed through which the manifestation of entirety of universe happens. That is physical nature happens. This is what the Kapila Muni of Samkhya told. So you have Vaisheshika and Nyaya, other schools, where they say that you need Udvega, or there is atoms, there are structures which need a specific structure and design and force to replicate and to function. The complexity is given by a non-physical entity which is eternal. If you go for that physical entity, you have to go for the other non-physical. You have to see the chain of it. You will be in the endless chain of finding the non-physical entity through which the physical entity came, from atoms to the cosmos. This is one of the tarka or vivada, or what you call as a debate, or the logic reasoning, which the schools of thought of Hindu school of thought gives. If you see it by what Krishna says in chapter 15, verse 6, Natad bhasyate suryo na sasanko na pavaka yadgatva nirvatante tadhamam paramam mama, which means he symbolically says that neither sun nor moon, nothing illuminates my abode. My abode is beyond the physical realm. For those who come to me, return not. This is what you can infer from a philosophical angle of this argument. So there is some constant physical nature which is predictable, and there is something which is unpredictable, non-graspable by humans. Humans know of 95% of the universe, only 2% or 1%, around that much. So you cannot make crude reasoning. So again, you come to Richard Dawkins. He argues that complexities of on the premises of Darwinian theory of natural selection, where he comes and says that everything from a biological perspective, nature decides the design of the biology of the structure of the being or organisms. During the Darwinian time, Darwin wrote the theory, the origin of species, and also the natural selection. In natural selection, Darwin suggests that the vitality of that species or organisms through hereditary and the adaptive nature of the environment it has, it tends to replicate the virality of that species. After Gregor Mendel proposed the theory of genetics, so genetics also played a very important role in evolutionary theory, that is the natural selection. The natural selection happens through phonetics, which is through characteristics of organisms, and genetics, which plays an important role in protein and amino acids which it contains. So you don't need an intelligence to make it. The nature itself springs into itself, creates a natural evolution of species. So it doesn't need an intelligent design. So one of the theologians, if I may, William Bailey, gave that analogy of watchmaker, which anyway Richard Dawkins dismissed. He told that mechanical watch is very complicated, and its function is also very complicated. Similarly, it doesn't happen by accident. Similarly, the creation itself doesn't happen by accident. You have amoeba, you have the structure of genome, you have the complexity of bacterium, all this complexity, and it morphs into various beings, or single unicellular to multicellular being. So there is some complexity in nature which has a purposeful design. there is a motive and a design through which the chain of evolution happens. That is what William Bailey proposed. But again, Richard Dawkins dismissed this theory. Then comes Thomas Aquinas, one of the famous theologian again. He says that unless moved, nothing moves. That is moving. Then there is a part of the cause. What is the causes of causation? Causation of causes. So you need a cause. Richard Dawkins again says that
Has science buried God?
Well, which God? I mean, we could take Einstein's God, which is not really a personal God at all, but which is a sort of poetic metaphor for the mystery, that which we don't understand about the universe. We could take a deist God, a sort of God of the physicists, a God of somebody like Paul Davies, who devised the laws of physics, God the mathematician, God who put together the cosmos in the first place and then sat back and watched everything happen. And that would be, the deist God would be one that I think it would be, one could make a reasonably respectable case for that, not a case that I would accept, but I think it is a serious discussion that we could have. The third kind of God is one of which there are thousands and thousands of varieties, Zeus and Thor and Apollo and Amun-Ra and Yahweh. And we don't actually need to go through all those because I've, as Larry has said, I've encountered John Lennox before, and I know what the God he believes in, which is the Christian God. He believes that the creator of the universe, the God who devised the laws of physics, the laws of mathematics, the physical constants, who devised the parsecs of space, billions of light years of space, billions of years of time, that this paragon of physical science, this genius of mathematics, couldn't think of a better way to rid the world of sin than to come to this little speck of cosmic dust and have himself tortured and executed so that he could forgive himself. That is profoundly unscientific. Not only is it unscientific, it doesn't do justice to the grandeur of the universe. It's petty and small-minded.
no need to be a cause for anything. The ultimate cause is nature itself, and there is no other necessary intelligence or a point, fixed point to be the starting point of the cause. So if you want argument, counter argument by again the theist here is every reason is sarva karana karana, karana karya karana, which is given in Upanishads also, where the cause and effect, everything is cause and effect. If there is a cause, there should be an effect. If there is an effect, there is an entity which is causing this, all the causation of all the effects. The entity is not physical. So everything comes from non-physical causes. Non-physical entity makes it all the causes to have a cause and effect relation. So this is what some of the darshanas like what you call Samkhya and other darshanas we have relied upon in tarka or vivada or debate. Like as I told, even in Gita, Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna says, I am the cause of all causes. There is no other end goal. And in cosmic sense, in Buddhist sense, there is no, the cause and effect is cyclical in nature, like in Abrahamic sense. So there is cyclical cause and effect and it dissolves again. In dissolution, you don't have cause or effect. So you merge into one and there is no cause or no effect in stillness. That is what these theory states. That is Vaisheshika and Nyaya states that cause and effect also needs a non-physical entity, because cause and effect is of matter and time, space and matter. So that which is not in the time, space and matter is the causation of cause and effect. This is what is a counter argument to the Richard Dawkins. So there is another important question. If God is all compassionate, all loving, why there is so much crimes, war, death, destruction? For this you can see many other references. For example, in Samkhya itself, there is, and also in Vedantas, it is said that there is absoluteness is only in stillness. Only one is absolute, non-physical entity. The other thing is relative. That's why you have a theory of relativity, wherein even in physics, the motion of which you pass, when you go on the motion, the time, the faster you go, the relative of time will get reduced. The slower you go, you have more time. So it is relative. So relativity of space time. So matter and mass and time is interchangeable, but the space is relative. The space is relative, time is relative, everything is relative. But mass and space is mass and matter, time and matter is interchangeable. So you have two in cosmic cookbook, if I may. So everything is relative. But if you want to be absolute, then it is a different thing. So in a smaller sense, if I want to give you an example, my wealth maybe, I am richer maybe than a person who is very low middle income group. I am relatively richer. So this is relativity. So sons, you may have n number of example of relativity. Suppose there are 100 people or 1000 people. If there is no, if they are all 7 feet tall, all are in the same absolute sense. But if 10 people are 6 feet, they are relatively, then you will relatively shorter. Then you will know what is relativity. What is, if everybody is happy, 10 people are not happy or unhappy. That is relativeness. So in world, in a world with transactional level, you will have wears and tears. You will have sorrow and pain. Know that to be equal who is mastered in equanimity. This is what Bhagavad Gita says. So there is these dualities. There is this relativity. The world is full of relativity, and nature has its own way of functioning, where Krishna calls it as Dukkhalayam in Bhagavad Gita, means the place of where you suffer, as Leela, as a play, cosmic play. So as the cosmic play goes on, in the physical realm there is relativity. There is no absolutism. When there is absolute, when there is all merger or dissolution, you have absoluteness, you have stillness. When there is relativity, you have the problem of all the dualities of life. You have dukkha, you have pleasure, pain, you have all the wars, all kind of indiscriminate things. Various situation leads to something else. So these are all, and also you have some kind of a free will for human beings, which the species, other species, does not consciously do. Human beings can do many things more consciously. This we can explain. Other science. So when it comes to science, Newton said that space was not relative. I mean, space is relative, time is not relative. But Einstein, after few hundred years, came and told that both time and space and everything is relative. So there is absolute U-turn. Then you come to other aspect where Marie Curie discovered radioactive material, radioactive particles against the theory of Dalton. Dalton postulated the theory that atoms are indivisible. No, atoms are not indivisible. Marie Curie discovered this by making the discovery of the radioactive material, where she found out that atoms are not absolute, they are not non-changeable, but they are changeable, they are transformable, and they can divide, they have nucleus and all these things. So Dalton told atom is singular, atom is unchangeable, indivisible, but Marie Curie found out again complete U-turn. So in science you have U-turns. It is not that you see one thing and you conclude that's it, you finish, but always it is like rebooting and remastering. Science is always about finding new things, and also what you found out yesterday might be wrong tomorrow, it may be new, it takes a newer format, newer form, especially in physics and biology. So these are all the versions. So who is right, who is wrong? So theism, atheism. In Buddhism you have this cause and effect. The cosmos is cyclical. There is no supreme God except in Mahayana, where Buddha is considered to be a supreme deity or supreme being, not a creator but a supreme being. The Buddha is an awakened one. Everybody can attain Buddhahood in Mahayana. In Hinayana or Theravada, only a prescribed monk can, who goes to monkhood, can attain. So the belief there is that cosmology is cyclical in nature with no particular deity or personal deity, even as Brahman. So in Hinduism you have this Brahma, where Carl Sagan has, American astrophysicist, has told that only major religion which corresponds to, accidentally, by the way, he says, accidentally corresponds to modern science is Hindu cosmology.
The Hindu religion is the only one of the world's great faiths dedicated to the idea that the cosmos itself undergoes an immense, indeed an infinite, number of deaths and rebirths. It is the only religion in which the timescales correspond, no doubt by accident, to those of modern scientific cosmology. Its cycles run from our ordinary day and night to a day and night of Brahma, 8.64 billion years long, longer than the age of the Earth or the Sun, and about half the time since the Big Bang. And there are much longer time scales still. There is the deep and appealing notion that the universe is but the dream of the God, who, after 100 Brahma years, dissolves himself into a dreamless sleep, and the universe dissolves with him, until, after another Brahma century, he stirs, recomposes himself, and begins again to dream the great cosmic lotus dream. Meanwhile, elsewhere, there are an infinite number of other universes, each with its own God, dreaming the cosmic dream. In India, there are many gods, and each god has many manifestations. These Chola bronzes cast in the 11th century include several different incarnations of the god Shiva, seen here at his wedding. The most elegant and sublime of these bronzes is a representation of the creation of the universe at the beginning of each cosmic cycle, a motif known as the cosmic dance of Shiva. The god has 4 hands. In the upper right hand is a drum whose sound is the sound of creation. In the upper left hand is a tongue of flame, a reminder that the universe, now newly created, will, billions of years from now, be utterly destroyed. Creation, destruction. These profound and lovely ideas are central to ancient Hindu beliefs, as exemplified in this Chola temple at Dharasuram. They are a kind of premonition of modern astronomical ideas. Without doubt, the universe has been expanding since the Big Bang, but it is by no means clear that it will continue to expand forever. If there is less than a certain amount of matter in the universe, then the mutual gravitation of the receding galaxies will be insufficient to stop the expansion, and the universe will run away forever. But if there is more matter than we can see, hidden away in black holes, say, or in hot but invisible gas between the galaxies, then the universe holds together and partakes of a very Indian succession of cycles: expansion followed by contraction, cosmos upon cosmos, universes without end. If we live in such an oscillating universe, then the Big Bang is not the creation of the cosmos, but merely the end of the previous cycle, the destruction of the last incarnation of the cosmos.
wherein you have 8.42 billion years of cycle of each cosmos, and there is Kalpa, where Brahma comes and forms himself as a universe and then goes into a dissolution mode. This is said by Carl Sagan. You can see Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about the God who is malevolent instead of benevolence. Again, the same answer I want to give, that God cannot be benevolent or malevolent. He is beyond the realm of the time and space, yet he is within it. He plays through various energies, and nature of physics and nature of law and nature of the world is such that you have to go have the dualities of all the things, pain, pleasure, whether it is physical earth or man himself causing it through his mind, in a family or in a nation or in wider world, what he causes. So these are all part and parcel of wear and tear of physical nature, which is mentioned as physical nature is mentioned in many of the books of Vedas or Bible or Quran as the temporary world or temporal world, pertinent. Buddha himself told the world is suffering. It is transient in nature. Know your own self before his death. This was his word. So what I am telling is, God, as you perceive to be all loving, all compassionate, is full of it, but yet beyond it. He is Saguna. There is both Saguna and Nirguna. These concepts are there in Hinduism. Nirguna means no character, no characteristics without character, like water, pure, no color, characterless. So this is Nirguna. Saguna means with all gunas. But what do you say with these theories? When God is bad or good, you cannot judge it, because God is beyond the realm of human thought. That is what theists put their argument. God is beyond all your thought, because he is beyond time, space, and your usual physical laws which interplace. That is the darkness, that is the space, that is the entirety of the space and beyond. That which is still is what is called Nirguna Brahman in Advaita. Nirguna Brahman doesn't have any characteristics, any sort of gunas, but it has a Mayavada, which has a temporary world, which is giving the gunas, which is filled of gunas, which is filled of egos, and which has wear and tear, and it is tend to destroy. This is one part. Then you have Madhvacharya, who proposed the theory of relativity. The relativity says nothing is absolute, only God is full, Purna or full. So that is his argument. So in Ishopanishad it says Purnamidam Purnamida Purnamu Gacchate. That is the cosmic infinite caused the cosmic infinite to manifest, and it always remains so. So that is Ishopanishad, which says that Purnamidam Purnamida Purnamu Gacchate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevava Sishyate. This is the Ishopanishad. It's a opening line. So there you can find from unmanifested, it is still unmanifested, and that entity manifests, and yet it remains unmanifested self. So it is very complicated. So you have one set of person who says, that is theists, who are for benevolent God, these things, these are not going to work out. If you see a wider part of spiritualism, that is why you need spiritual journey. You need to explore. You need to say, I do not know completely yet. Either you are a set believer or set non-believer. Non-believer means there is again a belief that there is nothing there beyond your perception and science. Science can reach only to that level. Again, I told Dalton, I gave you an example of Dalton and Marie Curie, how science perception changes again and again. You change your stand, because you find new things in science. Science keeps on unraveling you. The mystery of science goes on. You cannot conclude, you cannot finish. It is always work in progress. And as Newton told wonderfully, I am just playing with the pebbles in the seashore. I am just tinkering with all these pebbles and stones while the ocean lay ahead of me. This is what Sir Isaac Newton told. That is, knowledge is unfathomable. Knowledge is wide. Knowledge is beyond. How much ever you get it, it is still relatively ungrasped. You have grasped only a certain amount. You have only a certain amount of space and time. That is what Einstein told, E is equal to mc square. That is certain amount of space, certain amount of time and matter. That is what is existence. And beyond that, whatever it is there, it is unfathomable, which is beyond. So this is the theist versus atheist. Theists have a set conclusion, which is also led to a horrible superstition and other beliefs. Belief system leads to crude belief that your parents have passed on to yourself and others. A set atheist, though he rationally reasons, but he concludes that that is the only thing. But again, there is a change as the centuries go by. Your new ideas, you discover new ideas. You may even take a U-turn, like I told in the case of Dalton and Marie Curie previously. Dalton said that atom is indivisible, whereas Marie Curie found out it is not. So, having said that, analyze for yourself. If I had told something wrong, just correct me in this, as I am humble enough to learn more. Learning has no end. Learning is the process. Ultimately, you seek, as Javed Akhtar in one of the discourses with Sadhguru, Jaggi Vasudev told, it's a pompous question to ask whether we exist, why we exist. He said it's imprintable. I say you are a gone case, because every question led to answer, and which led to the scientific discovery, the method of meditation, the yoga, the Kundalini yoga, or the scientific exploration, the general theory of relativity. If Einstein had not thought about religion, space, or the nature of existence, nature of time, matter, why should we think? Everything is a pompous question. Why should Einstein research on theory of relativity? What is the existential need for that? All we need is to eat, sleep, and reproduce, like a mosquito or an animal. Your basic thought process itself is on the wrong notion that thinking something grand, thinking something beyond what humans think in a mundane level is to be called pompous, is a very idiotic sense of designating a thing as pompous. It is not pompous. It's not a pompous question to ask where you are, who you are, where you came from. These are all related to certain scientific discoveries, scientific knowledges, and nature of whom we are, from bacteria, microcosm to macrocosm. If man had thought everything to be not everything to be irrelevant, he didn't have discovered at all anything. All he need to do was survival mode. He need to be in a survival mode at all. So your question, that your statement that we are in a pompous way to question certain questions why we are here, is absolutely a wrong notion, which you have to recalibrate yourself. You rethink your statement. It is not that we are pompous, we are discovering. In any way, discovery, inquiry, self inquiry, the thing that humbleness that I do not know and I have to know more, is also said by Newton just few minutes back. I told you. A ocean of knowledge, a ocean. Ignorance is bigger than the knowledge. So if you want to explore that darkness, you need to enhance your perception. If you think enhancing the perception is pompous, then you are a pompous idiot. So that is what I can say. Regarding the set religious beliefs, it is same as set narrative of belief in science, that is the end of it. And each time they discover, they unravel something new, which is even contrary, as I told before. So we cannot discern everything as a human in a vast cosmos which is beyond our perception, how much our intelligent or how much our extension of our intelligence goes, or instruments we sent. It may be faking, it may be unbelievable. So that is what you have to self-inquire, and through various methods, not just scientific methods. You can do either of that. You can have a combination of both. As one of the contemporaries of Mr. Dawkins, Richard Dawkins, told, that he proposed that religion and science can be not overlapping, has its own value, set of values. So like that, it is to seek through meditation, as in yoga series I mentioned, through meditation, through stillness, you can understand certain part of your consciousness and enhance its perception. So similarly, there are many other methods to devotion, to being ecstatic in your mind, and to bring out that love and joy, not just be ritualistic in that. And some of the belief system which has been condemned, like the set religious mind, that belief is the only thing, not exploring, not giving out the love, not giving out the devotion, or not exploring or not seeking, will lead to these kind of things. Galileo Galilei faced criticism from Catholic Church at that time. Was prevailing was geocentric, that is, Earth is the center. That was recognized by Catholic Church. When he proposed this idea of heliocentric, he was criticized, and there was Inquisition in 1616. And another philosopher, Aristocrates, he discovered that there was a lunar and solar eclipse due to the motion of the moon or around the sun, and when the moon comes between the sun and earth, there is an eclipse. But previously it was believed that when God is angry, sun is taken away. So he broke that notion. So this is all discoveries. These discoveries led to betterment of human being. Both science and spiritualism lead in a complementary manner. So that is not contradictory. You can use it as a tool to enhancement of your seeking rather than just endlessly debating. One sees it through analytical set, another sees through inner perception and consciousness and values based set. So both complement each other. Either way, you can set your path or you can complement with both. It is up to you. It is individualized, tailor made. So, having said that, I want to end this conversation. Hope we may get more insight to this. I am also in the learning process. Please correct me if I am wrong anywhere. Let me see you next episode. Until then, bye.